Hi, I'm Shelly. I'm Australian by blood and American by accent. My family moved to the States when I was younger, and I grew up there most of my life. I grew up going to church every Sunday and Sunday school every week, so church was a big part of our life, our family life. Around the age of 15, I got in with the wrong crowd, started doing drugs and was in and out of jail. I was always looking for the next fun thing, the next best high, the next best thing that would make me feel better, but it was never satisfying. It wasn't until about 2007 that one day I just said, God, is there any purpose to my life? I felt as though before I even finished the question that he said that he had big plans for me and that I would help start a church in Sydney. I didn't think much about it because I was living in Atlanta at the time. I had no plans on moving back to Sydney, and I really didn't want to look into starting a church because I thought it would ruin my reputation. So I just let that thought slide by and went about my life as usual. I hit a low point in my life and it really got my attention. I missed my brother's wedding because I was so high on drugs. I know I'd really broken his heart and broken my family's heart. It was that point in time that I found that this is not how I want to keep living my life. I really want things to change, and that's why I knew I needed God to help me change it because I couldn't do it on my own. A week after my brother's wedding, my aunt Marilyn came over from Sydney. Marilyn and I were having a conversation about God and how she loved North Point Community Church, the church that I went to. In mid-conversation, she says to me, well, you should come to Sydney and help start a North Point Partnership Church. And I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost because my mind immediately went back 2 years prior to when I felt that God had told me that. I told Marilyn about it, and she said, well, why don't you just pursue it, see what happens, and if that's what God wants you to do, he'll lead you to it, and we'll set everything up for you. And that's where the road began. I went to the Australian consulate, and he had said that because of my criminal history as a teenager, it would be near to impossible for me to have my Australian citizenship reinstated. About 30 days exactly after I submitted my application for my Australian citizenship, I received the certificate in the mail and knew that that was a big sign to start planning to move back to Sydney. I budgeted my airfare for $500. All the flights were listed for around $2,000, even one way. Because I was still doubting if I should be going to Sydney or not, I just prayed and asked that God would use this as a sign that he wants me to still go to Sydney. I went back to the computer and searched a few weeks later at a different time period and found a ticket for $495. Clicked on Pay Now, and the payment went through, and I had a ticket on Virgin Airlines for under $500, which was what I had budgeted for. I wondered if I should tell anyone in the church about the idea and the thought that I felt that God was leading me to Sydney to start a partnership church. I started praying about it, and a week later, I was volunteering at a night of worship at North Point Church. I met two guys that worked for the church. One of them helped set up partnership churches in the US, and the other one helped set up churches globally. Since then, we've been in contact, and they've been helping to bring pieces together about setting up a church here in Sydney. It was a very tough first 6 to 8 months when I first moved here. I'd never been so depressed until I moved here. I felt lonely, the culture shock, missing my family. It was very testing to see if this is what I would still continue to do or if I would give up and move back to Atlanta. But at the same time, I still had this fire in my heart to continue pursuing what I felt God was leading me to do and seeing what journey he was leading me on. Reconnecting back with the church, it was a little difficult at first But I just knew taking baby steps and just gradually just showing up and just being there and hoping that God would just show me what I need to know. If I'd gone to a traditional church rather than North Point, I don't know if I would have stuck with it. But going back to North Point, it was just, I felt right at home. I felt as though no one judged me there. The environments that they had set up to give me the information that I was looking for and to help build my Christian life. It was everything I could have asked for and more. I know coming from the lifestyle I came from, it would take a North Point church to help change my lifestyle. Since then, I feel as though I'm a completely different person from who I used to be, and that I'm glad that God got my attention and brought me back to reality, I guess. I don't know. I'm on the journey He has me on. Now know that I couldn't live without Him and without His guidance in my life, because before I felt as though I was just floundering around and not a clear direction in where I'm going in life. And now I feel that I know, even though I don't know what's up ahead, I know that He knows and He's leading me in the right way.